Merry Christmas, and welcome to the show.
In this episode, I'm going to be looking back at the Christmas of 1998. Now, after a year of amazing releases such as F-Zero X, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil 2 and Castlevania Symphony of the Night, it was a movie spin-off and one of Nintendo's flagship franchises that caught my attention.
The first game of my Christmas 1998 is Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
After being awestruck by Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, I couldn't wait for another Star Wars game to come out for the Nintendo 64. Concentrating solely on vehicle combat and strategy, Rogue Squadron puts you in control of several iconic space and landcraft from the Star Wars universe. From flying X-Wings on planet and in space, to tying tow cables around Imperial Walker's legs whilst piloting a snowspeeder. The game really felt like it was part of the Star Wars universe. There was plenty of in-game spoken dialogue, detailing objectives and providing you with updates during each mission. The voice acting is mostly good. In the majority of the game you take on the role of Luke Skywalker, and for most of the time he sounds the part. Many familiar locations and characters appear during the game, and although the stage graphics haven't aged terribly well, at the time this was a very decent looking game overall. I found that the variety in missions always kept me entertained, and the performance rating system always had me going back to earn more medals.
The other game that kept me busy over Christmas 98 was The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Now, before I get started with Ocarina of Time, I have to say that I'm not a massive fan of RPGs. I've always been more into the pick up and put down nature of arcade games. Having played and loved A Link to the Past, I was always going to give this a go, and for those that can remember, the previews made the game look incredible. I won't go into too much detail about the game, because I'm sure there are plenty of in-depth analysis videos out there. What I'm here to do is talk about how it felt to wake up on Christmas morning in 1998 and play it. Now, it wasn't until the world opened up and I rushed out into Hyrule Field that I felt just how incredibly vast this game was. The music became the soundtrack of most of my day, whether it was in the open world or exploring one of the many dungeons or temples in an attempt to destroy each of the bosses. Running around villages and smashing pottery, buying masks, finding weapons and annoying villagers, it was all part of an amazing experience.
So which of these two games did I prefer?
Now, obviously these are two totally different games, each with their own positive and negative points. Having two games that I really enjoyed to keep me busy during the festive period was quite a privilege at the time, with no such thing as a gaming backlog back then. I know this probably is not the most popular choice, but my game of Christmas 1998 was Star Wars Rogue Squadron. Even going back to the two titles today, I still enjoyed it more, even with the massive amount of stage fog and lack of graphical detail in each location. In the years that followed each game's release, I found myself going back to Rogue Squadron time and time again, something I can't say I did after finishing Ocarina of Time. Obviously, over time, games such as Rogue Leader and Rebel Strike made improvements over Rogue Squadron, and the game became outdated. This wouldn't really happen with Ocarina of Time, as many people probably still view it as one of the best Legend of Zelda games to this day, despite its many more technically impressive follow-ups.
So that was my look back at Christmas 1998. Why don't you let me know some of the games that you enjoyed from that year? Now, whatever you're doing over this festive period, make sure you have a great time. And from me, Mega Drew, I'd like to wish you all a Merry Christmas.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below and subscribe to the channel for future content.